hunters are the ones that go out and kill. Maybe 1 out of 10 of good fighter pilots will be one of the hunters, and the others will be hunted.
An ace, the highest card in the deck. Of tens of thousands of fighter pilots who fought in World War II, only a select few shot down 5 or more planes to earn the title of ace.
Are you all right? You get any of the batters?
Yes, I got a Messerschmitt 109 and a Dornier.
Who were these men? What made them a breed apart? In the high arenas of a world at war, what separated the hunters from the hunted?
A fighter pilot fights by himself. He's a lone fighter. He has to have a will to attack. He must really hunger after wanting to down planes.
Banked as tight as I could and turned around and faced this Focke-Wulf. I could see the gun sparking, and then it hit me. That man is trying to kill me.
It's like a duel. Well, a duel which ends like any duel, with death for some and victories for others.
When my bullets hit an enemy and an enemy's plane caught fire, I felt excitement, joy.
The thrill of the chase and what you're doing, there is no substitute.
World War II. Hitler's armies sweep across Europe. In the Far East, Japanese forces swarm over the Pacific in their quest to dominate Asia. On both fronts, lightning victories are spearheaded by massive air attacks. And it becomes clear to the Allied powers that he who seizes control of the sky will rule the battlefield. The job falls to a few bold men. Adolf Galland, German Luftwaffe, 104 kills. Grounded by an eye injury during basic training, Galland memorizes the eye chart to qualify for the newly formed Luftwaffe. He will become general of all fighter pilots, the youngest and most highly decorated general in the German armed forces.
No fighter pilot in the world had as many opponents as the German fighter pilot. The German fighter pilot would have to continue his mission for as long as he was physically capable, until he was wounded.
1,000 sorties was not uncommon for the German fighter pilot lucky enough to survive them. But young German pilots on the eve of war accept their duty eagerly, convinced that in the Luftwaffe, the most powerful air force on earth, lay victory. Harry Brodie Broadhurst, Royal Air Force, 12 kills. He will become Britain's youngest air vice marshal, and later a knight of the British Empire.
Risking their necks was part of the game, I suppose. I mean, I had fast motor cars and fast motorbikes. When I wasn't crashing aeroplanes, I was crashing motorbikes. It was all part of the game.
Young Englishmen, eager for adventure, volunteer in droves for the Royal Air Force. Their country will soon call upon them to provide the last line of defense in an all-out struggle for survival. Ivan Lakiev, Red Air Force, 12 kills. Told he is too short and awkward to qualify for flight school, 16-year-old Lakiev nearly abandons his dreams of becoming a fighter pilot. But by war's end, this flight school reject will become a leading fighter ace and a decorated hero of the Soviet Union.
In our country, every Russian, every Soviet knows the slogan, "He who comes here with a sword will die by the sword." Where did we find the strength? In love for our motherland.
For the pilots of the Red Air Force, World War II opens with terrifying suddenness. With a deep love of the motherland and a centuries-old hatred of their German neighbors, Russians will stop at nothing to destroy the invaders. Saburo Sakai, Imperial Japanese Naval Air Force, 64 kills. Sakai nearly dies of severe head wounds early in the war when American bullets rip into his cockpit. But he recovers to become one of Japan's top fighter aces.
No matter how many of the enemy's planes I shot down, my personal power was very limited. To my unit men, my colleagues, teaching how to shoot down a plane, how many aces I could create, was the thing I devoted my time to more than how many planes I personally shot down.
Driven by a fanatical devotion to duty, ordained by the ancient code of Bushido, Japanese pilots take the spirit of the samurai into the skies. Francis Gabby Gabreski, United States Army Air Corps, 28+ kills. Gabreski will become one of America's top aces, but was almost washed out of flight school because he had so much trouble learning how to handle an airplane.
You've got to have the right attitude. You've got to have the right training. You've got to be aggressive. You've got to be professional in every sense of the word.
Stunned by the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, outraged Americans rush into uniform, seeking vengeance.
We're there to win. We're there to destroy.
Survival was an art. Making kills was a craft. Instincts took over when it was time to decide between the quick and the dead. What made some men masters of aerial combat, while others fought only to survive? What did it take to become an ace?
Einsatz als Jagdflieger.
To complete your mission as a fighter pilot, you have to disregard your own safety. It is amazing, but one can grow used to accepting that risk. I've noticed myself a phenomenon. That danger acts like a drug. You need it, you actually seek it out. And a day without danger seemed unsatisfying.
Arseny Vorozhikin, Red Air Force, 46+ kills. While leading a handful of fighters deep inside enemy territory, he spots an armada of German bombers and fighters. Retreat is not in Vorozhikin's dictionary.
We went around from the back. The sun was shining from the side of the enemy. We made the turn. They didn't see us. Now the sun was shining behind us also. I gave the order to attack the enemy fighters all at once. 2 of them went down in flames right away. 3 of them somersaulted around in the air after they were hit. The other fighters who didn't expect this, all of them dove down, and they left the bombers without protection, without cover.
Cocky, self-assured, the fighter ace thinks only of victory. Defeat is for the enemy.
Each pilot had an absolute confidence in himself. All pilots had the pride that they would never lose a fight. One samurai against another samurai. This kind of spirit was found in all of the pilots.
Most of the young people like myself had utter confidence. I never ever dreamed that I would get a hole in my airplane because I was so good at what I did.
Air combat is quick. A minute, maybe less, decides who goes down in the record books and who in flames.
A fighter pilot, the very best of them, are unusually quick. I mean, quick in reflexes, quick in their analysis.
And once he makes up his mind, that's it. He doesn't change it.
Flying demands a certain kind of intelligence, some self-control, being able to react quickly, having your wits about you. If you couldn't outfight him, at least outwit him.
Exploiting the enemy's weakness, taking advantage of altitude, the sun, and the clouds to achieve surprise are indispensable tactics of the fighter ace.
Jawohl, dieser Ausspruch mit dem Kopf und nicht mit den Muskeln.
Should I come out of the sun? Should I dive? Attack from below? I have to make all these considerations before I attack, instead of simply jumping on him in the hopes of somehow bringing him down.
I thought as I went into that cloud, I thought, now, that guy cannot chase me into this cloud. He can't come in the cloud after me because he can't see me. So he's got to turn around. And I'll turn around and get a quick one at him as he goes away. And I did, turned around and in the cloud, and came out of the cloud, and sure enough, there he was in front of me, and I let him have a whole bunch of it. Clouds they can be beneficial to you, but they are also dangerous.
I would attack only if I had 2,000 meters of clearance above them. Then I would come down with great speed and shoot them down. I would always tell my colleagues that when your windshield was filled with the enemy aircraft, that was the time to pull the trigger and to shoot.
Adrenaline is flowing and your mind is racing thousands of miles a second. Your guns are fixed. They're not capable of swinging around. You have to swing your whole aircraft in order to get your sights on. And now he sees you, and so he breaks, what we call, he breaks into you, because then that's going to put him in a position of trying to get on your tail. It's a heck of a situation to be in. There's nothing greater than a combat with another aircraft. There's nothing. That's the epitome. There's nothing else. Nothing can touch it.
Fame and adulation grow with each mounting score. Aces become household names, men to admire, to cheer, to emulate.
Don, I want to interview you on behalf of all the girls in America. Are you married?
No, I'm not. Still single.
Good.
Fighter pilots often lived little better than the foot-slogging infantry. They lived in seas of mud. They baked under the heat of African skies and courted frostbite in the most bitter of winter conditions. While flying over limitless stretches of empty ocean, a faulty compass or engine could mean an unmarked grave 1,000 feet underwater.
Kennt der Jagdflieger keine Angst?
Does the fighter pilot know no fear? I would say yes, that he does know fear. It's a tremendous fear, and every attack on a four-engine group requires an overcoming of fear. Because without knowing fear, I cannot be brave.
I started the war without fear. I was like a child who doesn't know what fear is and rushes into battle. Returning from one outing, I landed and saw that the plane was all shot up. And I thought, well, it's dangerous to be so fearless.
You hear guys say, oh, God, I was scared, you know, and I froze or something like that. That didn't happen to me. I just said, no way that this mother's going to shoot me down.
Despite their unshakable confidence and bravado, death was a companion that flew every mission. Pilots died inside cramped cockpits that reeked of fuel and cordite from the guns. They died in action, and they died in accidents. And they died alone.
To lose a good friend killed flying with you is always a shock. But the human mind has this wonderful capacity for blanking out the things that it doesn't want to remember.
You can't measure in terms of money the value of human lives. That's impossible. And there were enormous losses, both in people and in resources. I can tell you that when we fought, we didn't think about the fact that in an hour or in a few minutes we might be killed. We just fought.
Chaps who were killed, you couldn't brood on it, that of course you all carried on. Otherwise it would have, the whole thing would have collapsed. Morale would have gone to the dogs.
Auf die Heimatstadt meiner Frau in Magdeburg.
The worst experience I had was when my friend Lent, a well-known night fighter pilot, out of foolishness crashed while landing, and he and the rest of the crew, who had been critically injured, died on the operating table. That was very hard for me, that my best friend died due to a rather trivial mistake, basically.
You know, friendships forged in combat are never forgotten. I'll tell you that. Better than brotherly love.
And so now
George Chandler learns a bitter lesson at the hands of an aggressive Japanese pilot.
Someplace, and I unbutton my oxygen mask and light up that first cigarette, and I've been all those hours without it. And I'm feeling pretty pleased, and by now we're within the radar control, the fighter control of our base, and the mission is over for the day. And we're relaxing. And old George let himself relax. And a flight leader, squadron leader should never do that. And smart aleck-like, I took the oxygen mask and pulled it back up over my face, and the microphone, the nose mic is in there. And I said, now where's that goddamned all-silver zero? Run him down here and I'll show him how the world's truly made, or some smart aleck remark like that. And now we're out of the gun sights, the gun switches are off. Way back there we've dropped tanks, and we got enough fuel to get home. And everything is going just right, but everything's shut down. And one of my guys says, there's a bogey at 12 o'clock high, and here he comes. Jesus, I'm trying to get this thing out of automatic lean mixture and get the props back up, get the throttles back up, get the gun switches on, get the gun sight on, get this big machine that is just a cruising airplane to being a fighting airplane all over again. And I'm too slow. And I didn't get to that zero in time. And he went right through that bomber formation, and the lead bomber was lost, and the whole crew was lost. And I'm the guy. And it's if I had stayed right up on the combat edge, clear up to the landing pattern, or when we let go of those bombers, and we weren't 25 miles from letting go of them for the day. And I didn't do it. We lost a bomber.
Battle remembrances, personal triumphs and tragedies. For George Chandler and others, thoughts that will haunt them forever. White Springs, an American ace of World War I, wrote a description of aerial combat that has become a classic. The heavens were the grandstands, and only the gods were spectators. was the player's place at the table, and the game had no recess. It was the most dangerous of all sports, and the most fascinating. It got in the blood like wine. It aged men 40 years in 40 days. It ruined nervous systems in an hour. It was a fast game. The average life of a pilot at the front was 48 hours, and to many, it seemed an age.